What's good, everybody? Remember 17 here. Today we're going to be explaining negative GA. What is negative GA? Well, if you know what GA stands for, it's grapple advantage. Negative GA is something that's been around since UFC 2, but it's becoming more prevalent in discussion. It's been brought up in UFC 3, it's been brought up in UFC 4, but since moving to the PS5, a much more responsive game where the game has been made, people are finding that certain positions, especially side control, not only is it extremely easy to deny and hold somebody in a position, it almost seems to bypass the stats. And it's something extremely broken that needs to get addressed by EA. They have to remove negative GA or make some huge buffs to transitions on the ground, specifically for transitioning to different positions, because right now as it stands, even though they made this great TBS system, the game still is too stally. Way too stally and denial heavy. But I'm going to explain what makes negative grapple advantage so bad. So with negative grapple advantage, right? Charles Oliveira, as the bottom fighter here in bottom side control, he's able to get GA a couple of ways, right? He can strike, right? Conor McGregor can try to miss time with denial. And if you notice, that bar kind of goes up a little bit when somebody tries to pre-deny and they mess up for that half second of time. The person on bottom will get some grapple advantage, which is supposed to help them out and potentially get a free transition. When I'm striking on top with Conor, in real life, when I'm in side control, when I'm maintaining my pin, and I have chest-to-chest connection, and I'm holding them down, this is what's supposed to help keep them down. But in a game that's supposed to have top game versus bottom control and everything of that nature, if I start to strike from a position, a pinning position, and I'm losing my frame that's keeping him on the ground, that's supposed to make it easier for Charles Oliveira to escape. But if I go here and I try to transition to, say, sprawl, right after Conor striking, that transition there was not that much faster than how it is normally, right? And if you guys notice something, if I get this denied once, right, and I try to build grapple advantage here, right, with Charles Oliveira, okay, I got denied once, let me build grapple advantage, right, and surely, after I build this grapple advantage, I'm going to be able to get a faster transition. No, there's no effect. Now, from here, despite there being a huge disparity in the stats, it is extremely slow. And to make matters worse, look right here. Why is it that now that I'm striking with Conor McGregor, Charles Oliveira is not getting any grapple advantage? That doesn't make any sense. Any sense whatsoever. So for some reason, after you get a denial in top side control, right? And I start to strike with Conor McGregor, right? He's starting to lose his GA. I get all this GA. Negative GA is a huge reason why this is a thing. And now, Charles, if he tries to move for all of his bottom control stats, right, everything is abysmally slower. That's what makes this position so busted in game, right? Here I get to the point where I can recover a little bit, but one denial and you're cooked. Try to move when you get hit, still gonna get cooked, right? Try to move again. Look at the GA that McGregor has. He is getting GA from hitting me when it should be a faster transition for myself because he's releasing the pin, but negative GA granted. So now McGregor, despite striking me in this position, is getting grapple advantage. But despite losing his pin in real life, he somehow has the advantage to keep me down while he's striking. That is the problem with negative GA. This override in the grapple advantage logic needs to get adjusted, because how do we go from striking and conceding the pinning position to go and strike, and now it's more difficult for our opponent with the free space that they have from the removal of that frame to be unable to move as fast as possible. Now, I was not a game changer in UFC 2. I barely played that game. UFC 3 was when I came onto the scene. I was not a game changer then. I became a game changer right before UFC 4. came out, and even then we didn't get much say in that game's progress until much later when it was already in development after Jeff Harrower left. So for UFC 5, we already know with EA Sports, they drop a bunch of patches within the first 8 to 9 months. It is important for everybody in the community to be on board with this, because if we want the game to continue to flow better on the ground, including with the transition-based system, negative GA has to go. But not only that, a couple changes have to happen to some transitions. These sprawl transitions, especially when the guy is striking, like, they have to be faster. I don't know how I feel about the jail. I think this one's already fast enough, the jailbreak. But this is not a position where we end up in real life and fighters stay here. When a fighter gets to a more dominant position, like Katame, side saddle, or they go to crucifix, how even north south for like a brief second, you're more likely to see somebody kind of staying down here for a little bit longer than you would see side control. People are active here. They're constantly moving. And a lot of positions on UFC 5 need to get a change in the transition speed after negative GA gets removed too. So that's just pretty much giving y'all a little breakdown on what is negative GA and why exactly it's a problem. So I want all of you guys to make it abundantly clear when you're on the UFC Discord and they ask y'all about changes needed to the game. When it comes to the grappling, refer to this video. Say, hey, the community is now aware. I mean, should have been aware for quite some time now. I've been making topics about it since UFC 3 and 4 and other content creators too. But UFC 5, the devs have to get rid of negative GA. Because if that doesn't happen, this game will not progress.